Well, to give you an example, in the 70s, when we lived in Converse Heights, in the 70s, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan lived right here in Spartanburg. Okay, we had a good friend visit us, and she was black. Our house was attacked. We got threats, and then several years later we moved, and we lived in a cul-de-sac. And there was this white man that lived down at the end of the cul-de-sac, and he had this really mean dog. And I couldn't have children, but my wife had a daughter that I helped raise, and then she had a little daughter who was black, and she was playing. She was a preschooler on a bike with her other little black girlfriend, and this man was going to let this vicious dog out to bite these two little girls.
Yep. Because they were
And
black.
yes, and he said it.
Yep.
The only did you know who ended up moving out of the neighborhood? He thought I was a crazy person. I got a spade and I threatened to kill him.
Right.
I don't know why. I felt it. I felt so protective of these two little girls,
Right.
and
Right.
I told him I'll kill this dog, and I said I won't stop there.
Yep.
And he ended up. He thought I was so nuts that he's the one
Right.
that ended up moving. I said, you can keep your dog on a chain or in the yard. We don't chain children,
Right.
and they have a right to ride their bike in the cul-de-sac. But I did get so mad. I probably came across as insane. But
That's
eh,
okay though. I mean,
but we know
you
what
were.
racism is. That's real racism.
Yep. That you were protecting your granddaughter
Yes, I loved her
and
dearly. She's, oh
and
my
her
goodness.
friend.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. It's
I
like,
would rather be dead myself than to let those two little girls be hurt.
yep.
And
You know,
I didn't give a shit about that damn racist.
right.
And I let him know, you know, he understood. We ain't moving.
Right. Yep.
I mean, we're here. We're staying. If you don't like it, get out.
Yep. I mean, but it's there again. There's this narrative of things are things are so racist in this country now compared to what they were
And it's
then.
not.
That was
And that's
what
because of
probably
the mainstream media.
right.
They pump it up. They pump it up. They want us all to be mad at each other, so
Yep.
that the few people that are paying for the programs can have more power over all of us.
Yep.
We're just pawns.
And
Just pawns.
I'm sure when your granddaughter, that was what 35 plus years ago. So
Yeah.
it's like things are even toned down more than what they were then.
Oh, now
But
it's so much easier to live here now.
yeah, right. But it's like there's this narrative being foisted upon the world, the country that there's so much racism running rampant now
Oh,
in the
I know you would.
streets.
I know you would think that white people are out slitting black people's throat.
Right. It's like, man, that's not even close to us. We live in the one of the quote unquote, most racist areas of the country. We live in the South. And it's like that's not going on here. Like,
Mm-mm.
as a matter of fact, we're living amongst each other very well. I mean, like I said, 30 some odd years ago, I was playing ball with a lot of these
Yeah.
guys. My neighbors right now are black. Next door,
I
across the street. I mean,
I I when I go up north, I see a lot more segregation there. I see a lot more racism there
right,
than here.
right,
I don't know why they're preaching to us.
yep. Because
I can tell it when I see
right, and if there are black people within a certain area of whatever in the Northeast, they normally live in a lower class or a different neighborhood. They don't like here again. The next door, they're across the street, they're down the street. You live in an area where they're pretty much all around you. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know. Yeah, and
it,
like I said, I feel totally safe.
yeah, they know you, you know them.
They're nice people. They just they're just as nice as anyone else.
Yep,
I wouldn't think of moving.
yep.
No
But
one's ever
but the
been
fact of the
unkind to me.
matter is, we're more racist. Like,
Oh, I
no,
know.
we're being honest about things. Like,
Yes,
yeah, there is a higher percentage of black people that commit violent crimes, especially
that
per capita,
but
than
that
whites.
saying a fact is just saying a fact. If you
Right.
can't deal with data, you can't deal with reality.
Well, yep. If I go downtown, I am not going to walk through a certain neighborhood at nighttime. Why? Because is it because I'm racist? No, it's because I want to stay in
Well,
one piece.
see, you and I know that the neighborhoods that are unsafe, it's because of the poverty line here. It's not
Right.
black or white,
It's not
and
black or white.
it's where
Yep.
the most drugs are.
Yep.
And,
It's where the poor people are, and I hate to
yes,
say that, but
and
it is.
and
And
we know where it is, and it's not race specific.
right.
You
You
know,
know, the thing is also, it's like, the whole idea of white privilege and stuff. It's like, are we taking so like if particular people are more privileged than other people because of the hue of their skin, it's like, okay, so are we taking into account, a middle and upper middle class black families that are able to send their kids to good schools, are able to send them to college, are able to, versus the trailer park white kids that
hmm
who never, I knew one guy who his mother was a drug addict. He grew up
yeah,
in a trailer. Mother was on drugs. Never knew his father. Well, knew who he was, but never really knew him.
yeah.
And it's like, but
What a
he had white
how
privilege.
sad.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
that's see
right now the guy's in prison.
this is simplistic black and white thinking will be the end of civilization.
Yeah, yep. I agree. This
This is
simplistic
this is
everything
simply
thing.
categorizing everything as black and white and being simple about it.
Yep.
Life is complex. Wake up.
Yep. Black and
Look at real data.
right.
Deal with reality, folks.
It's simple.
Let's hey, listen. Let's end this little conversation with a prayer that people start dealing with reality. That's all I ask.
That
Let's just deal with reality, folks.
let's. Yep, you're right, and yeah, I'll definitely wrap things up. But you're right. I mean, but also the simple thinking of what, not only white and black, but also of gender and
Oh,
male patriarchy and male privilege and whatever. It's like we have got to deal with facts, and everything is not that cut and dry.
why
Like,
is it that so many men commit suicide?
yep.
Is it
Why is
because
it
of all their
why is
privilege?
it men? Yeah. Why do men have higher suicide rates? Why are they less likely to graduate college? Why are they less likely to even go to college? Why are they,
Mhm.
yeah, why men are
It's a,
more
it's not a
violent
simple.
crimes?
It's not black and white. It's not male female. It's humanity.
Is humanity, right? It is specific. Like, we can't say that one group has
All
more
the
privilege
privilege.
based on their skin hue and based on what their gender is, because it's like, oh my god, you can't, like, there are so many variables in there, whether or not you are privilege.
Yeah,
And,
what about the
and
white man who's sleeping on the sidewalk? Does he
right,
have all that privilege?
right. It's funny, like the one thing that was brought up, that I heard on TV the other day, somebody was saying about, men have privilege because majority of wealth are owned by men. It's like that is a fraction of a percent of men.
Hmm.
A very small group of men
Of men.
own things, own the world, own the most money, own there's a far higher percentage of men that live on the streets than the ones that are actually in the top percent.
Listen, instead of fighting among ourselves and just men versus women, black versus white,
Yep.
gay versus straight, all of this stuff, we need to all join together and fight the ones with real privilege at the top
Yep.
and tell them to back off. The
The ones
World
that are
Economic
wanting
Forum,
us
the
to fight.
people at the World Economic Forum at Davos, the Bilderberger Group. These are the people we need to tell stop it.
Yep.
Or
The
we
ones
won't.
that
Or
are
nobody
wanting
will
us
have
to
any
fight.
privilege. Nobody will
Yep.
have any privilege. Those are the ones with privilege, but they
Yep.
want to keep all of us. No, we'll all go down the tube together.
They want us to fight because
Yeah,
the more we're fighting amongst ourselves, the more they're winning, the more we're losing. And
that's
it's like,
right.
yeah, I mean,
Divide and conquer. It's an old rule.
the oldest trick in the book.
Yes,
And it's like,
it's an old rule.
the unfortunate thing is it's working so well right now.
That was
It's,
that was the one thing that kept the South so poor.
yep,
It was divide the blacks and the whites, and
yep.
that way you can keep all of them poor.
Well, it's like my wife's grandfather. He was he's passed away now, but he grew up in the 1930s in Mississippi, and he was a poor, they were the white people and black people in a lot of ways didn't always like each other, but they
Hmm.
were poor, sharecroppers.
Yeah,
It, it, and they didn't like the other poor sharecroppers who happened to be black.
they were all
Why?
scratching.
Because it was tribalism. They were all
Yeah,
fighting over scraps. They were
yeah.
fighting over the scraps.
They were
To
all
keep,
scratching in the dirt to just stay alive.
yep, yep,
And the few white people at the top were benefiting from all of it.
yep. And it's like, it's like, oh, they're bad, they're racist, or they're whatever. And it's like they were poor, dirt. I mean, honestly,
Hmm.
dirt poor people. They didn't have anything at all. And it's like, but one group was pitted against another group.
Another group, so that the group at the top, the few people at the top, could
Yep,
take all the money, and you were still left digging in the dirt, and you were
yep,
doing it for them, the people at the top.
yep,
And that's where we are now.
yep. And that's where people have got to wake up to this fact. And it's like, if we truly are wanting to help people, we need to sit there and be honest with them and say, hey, look, if you want help, if you want to realize where the power lies, it's within you. You have the power to decide what you want to do. You have
Exactly.
that power. Nobody else does. No, I mean, and if somebody, why would you ever want to rely on somebody else to give
Hmm.
you something? You're at their mercy. You're at their call.
That's
Whatever it
right.
is that you have will be given to you by them. That is no way to live. That is no way I know for myself, it's like I've had to wake up to this fact for myself. Like, yeah, if I want to achieve something in life, that is based on my own will, that is
Hmm.
based on me, where I want to go. And I think if we really want to help people, we would unshackle them from the guilt they feel
Hmm.
and take the guilt away,
That
unshackle
doesn't
them.
help anybody.
That doesn't help anyone. And allow them to build something for themselves and allow
Right.
them to and encourage them to do whatever. And not to talk about white this and black this and male this and female this. Stop all that and encourage them and stand and teach them that they don't need to feel guilty for anything, nothing at all, because all that's going to do is hurt them. It's
Yeah.
going to keep them in the richer, the more that we build ourselves up and the more wealthy we become, the better off this planet will become.
I agree.
This planet is, we talk about pollution, the most to pollute are poor.
Hmm.
The poor people have the vehicles that pollute the most, and the poor people, well, it's kind of like even being, I remember my brother telling me he lived in New York City for about 10 years, and he told me, he said, Eric, the people that throw things away, like, there's a difference.
Hmm.
Like, you can tell, like, poor, they don't even care what, there's a trash can 2 feet away from them, and they drop something on the ground because
Hmm.
they don't, there's a different mindset. There's a
Come on,
different mindset. No, is that your cat?
that's my little girl. She wanted to be on. She wanted to be included. She's
She
a.
looks just like our cat.
Does she really?
Yep, she
Oh, I love
does.
her. Oh, I love her to death. She's just my little favorite little girl, and jumps up on my lap several times a day and gives me kisses and hugs. She's just a good little girl.
There's something about animals just happen.
Oh, I love animals.
They kind of calm me down.
Yes, she wants to give Daddy a kiss.
She's a
She's
good
such a
cat.
good little girl.
She's a good cat.
Yeah, she's a
She
good girl.
gives you all kinds of kisses.
Yes, she does every day, several times a day. And she's
But
been waiting. And she finally got tired of waiting. She said, I'm not waiting anymore.
she got it. Well, but I am definitely not going to keep you anymore. But I had a
Oh, I've had a good time.
wonderful conversation.
And people need to have more honesty. I
Yeah,
feel like that I've always felt comfortable with you, and we've been friends for over 20 years. Uh, Even though I'm so much older, we've always connected,
yep,
and people need to be able to be honest. Let's
yep.
deal with reality, folks.
And not feel ashamed
Right.
for
Don't feel
for
ashamed to tell them the
yeah,
truth.
yep.
Just
And
just
saying
put
what's
it.
on their mind.
Yeah. Just put the truth out there.
Yep,
Listen, I
yep.
love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.